Coming in at number 19 on the 2023 Locked On Senators NHL Draft rankings from the Oshawa Generals, centerman Calum Ritchie.
Yes, Calum Ritchie from the Generals. Nice. I love that salute there, Ross. This is a guy who already has decent size. You love to see that. 6'2", 187 pounds. He's an assistant captain, and he had, in 59 games played, 24 goals, 35 assists, good for 59 points, point per game guy, not bad. And 6 points in 5 playoff games, 9 points in 7 games at the U18s. Are you catching my drift? This guy can put up points at a point per game clip.
Not only that, but I would call him the complete package. Because he's the kind of guy where, yeah, the production's there, but when you watch this guy, he's an imposing figure right away, 6'2", 185 pounds, and it almost feels like the frame can even fill out further. Like if this guy can be in the NHL playing at 200 plus pounds with the hands he has, I think he's going to be a hell of an NHL player. I'm really excited about Calum Ritchie here. 59 games with Oshawa, 24 goals, 35 assists, 59 points, good for 35 penalty minutes as well. And Pilsy, this guy wears a letter as a 17-year-old. Like, that doesn't go unnoticed to me as a guy who has leadership qualities. And it's not only in the OHL that he's worn a letter. He's worn a letter with the Canadian team on his age group as well. And I just see him as a guy who's just kind of scratching the surface of what he can be. And sorry, I'm talking about no letter yet, but he may as well with Team Canada. 9 points in 7 games at the U18s. He had 10 points in 5 games at the Ivan Hlinka Gretzky Cup. So he's a guy who everywhere he's gone, he's been a point producer. And I think this guy, Calum Ritchie, goes higher than where we have him at 19 on our average rankings. I think he's going to be a kind of guy where a team who sees all these high-end centermen going off the board early could be like, you know what? This guy's not that different from those guys. If he picks up the pace a little bit, I think that's the one thing that you can nitpick about him. Can he, when the games get faster in the moment, can he elevate as well and keep up speed? But Pilsy, as you can read off with these rankings, like there's a pretty wide varying opinion about what kind of player or where the player like Calum Ritchie will go in this draft.
Yeah, I agree with a lot that you said there, Ross. So Bob McKenzie not ranked. Again, that's a top 12 ranking as of yet. Craig Button has him at 13. Corey Pronman at 27, Scott Wheeler at 19, Rachel Doring not ranked. We only have a top 10 from her. Chris Peters, 18, Elite Prospects, 14 for an average rank at 18.2.
And where would you like to see his development go next season? What's the one thing? Because I just named a ton of positives about Calum Ritchie's game. What's something that if you're a fan of a team that just drafted Calum Ritchie right now, what are you hoping for next on his path towards the NHL?
What you're hoping for next is some improved skating. And this is nitpicking because I agree with you. He is a very well-rounded prospect. So sure, you can always get better. Everyone, no matter what, if we're talking about prospects or people in life, podcasting, there's always room for improvement unless you're Saleh and you've decided that's enough. So with Calum Ritchie, his skating is the one thing where I would say is not quite up to snuff. And I think it hasn't slowed him down. It hasn't made him a bad player or a bad prospect. So it's not even that big of a detriment. It's just there's one item where I would say he's not as skilled as he is in other areas.
I think that's a very fair, a very apt way to describe Calum Ritchie's game. But if this guy comes back after working with a power skating coach all summer, I wouldn't be surprised if he's like one of the best players on the World Junior team next year outside of all the obvious guys. But I think that he could be like kind of the role that Ridley Gregg played at the World Juniors, where he's producing points, but also being used in different situations. And I just see, if I'm a GM and I'm looking at Calum Ritchie, I'm looking at a guy who you can kind of mold into whatever player you want him to be in your lineup. You don't have to say, oh, if he's like a Gabe Perreault, if he's not a top 6, is he going to be effective? Like Calum Ritchie, I think you could play him at wing, you could play him at center, you could play him on the penalty kill, you could play him on the power play, and he will morph his game into making it valuable to your team. So I think that this would be a player, whoever takes him from 10, I think from 10 on, I'll say, hey, that's a good pick. I see what they see in him.
I agree. And the thing is, he's a good hockey player. He's not a lethal sniper. He's not a playmaker. He's a good all around hockey player. And the thing that sticks out to me the most, and that EP really made clear, is his ability to win battles along the wall is among the best in this class. Like, and he just plays such an efficient game. Like, you're not going to see him out there doing eye popping dangles and having highlight reel goals, but you're going to see him shift in and shift out. And you're like, another great shift for Calum Ritchie here. So I just think this is a guy that coaches are going to love. A team isn't going to regret drafting. They may look at, players available and be like, maybe there's more upside here. Maybe we left a little bit on the table here, but you're not going to regret having a guy like Calum Ritchie in your prospect pipeline.
You definitely won't. And again, just the ability to kind of the beauty is in the eye of the beholder here of what your team sees Calum Ritchie as becoming. But what I know is that the EP draft guide put it just so aptly. Calum Ritchie is your favorite scout's favorite player.
Yes. Yeah.
He is just able to be whatever you need him to be that given night. He's competitive, and he didn't just come on the scene. Second overall pick in the OHL in his draft year there. So this isn't a guy who you're like shocked that he's come out of nowhere. It's just been a gradual progression. Loves the game, able to just kind of add elements over and over again. So, man, I can't say enough good things. The only nitpick is, does he lack pace? Is he going to be able to step into an NHL lineup, or is he the kind of guy where it's like, hey, he'll play 2 more years in the OHL, then he'll probably play 1 or 2 years in the AHL, and by the time he's 24, the smarts aren't going anywhere, the shot, the playmaking, but you're expecting a guy who's maybe going to be a little bit stronger and able to, push a little harder when it comes to skating.
I want to push back on that just a little, Ross, because I think he's not going to lack pace. I think he's a guy that's going to play with pace.
Okay.
But will he lack speed? Maybe he will lack speed, because I think shift in and shift out, he's going to be right in the mix all the time. He's trying to win those loose puck battles, trying to win those board battles. So it's not like he's going to be hanging around and stuck behind plays. But if there's a loose puck battle in the neutral zone, can he beat the defender there and make a play to drive towards the net? Right now, maybe not.
I would love to see the Nashville Predators take a swing on Calum.
Okay. Yeah, I could see him fitting in there. Yeah.
I'm calling my shot here. I'm calling the Nashville Predators at 15 as a team that I would love. He's not going to be there for Nashville at 24 with Edmonton's pick. They got Mattias Ekholm. He's not. But 15 to me would be the perfect spot. This also screams Kyle Dubas, by the way, with Pittsburgh. This screams Kyle Dubas.
Well, he didn't play for the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, though. I don't know.
Hey, he might get traded there next year if Dubas.
True. Yeah.
No, but that's the range. Like I said anywhere after 10, I think will be a good pick. But really, like 14 to 17, the Calgary at 16, Detroit at 17 right now. Those are the areas where I see Calum Ritchie fitting into this draft. But for us, he's number 19 based on our 7 scouts with Locked On Senators. And for more draft profiles, we've got 70 coming on our YouTube page. So make sure that when your team drafts a player, head over to Locked On Senators. There's a better chance than not that we've got a profile for you to learn more about your next favorite player.